That's us. So as mentioned, pretty pumped to be continuing our series on the commercial shed space, and episode 4 is all about the owner build experience. And excited today to be here with my brothers-in-law, Aaron and Shane. So over to you, Aaron. Let's kick us off with a bit about Steelcorp.
I think Shane was going to take this one, but happy to do so.
Okay, Shane, all yours, mate.
Yeah, so for those that haven't joined any of our webinars before, we're a family-owned business based in Wangaratta, Victoria, and we've also got a branch in Penrith, Western Sydney. And our focus is large steel structures for the commercial and agricultural industry. My father Ross started the business 20 years ago, and we're here today, 4 sons in the business, and we have a growing team of 20. And interesting facts about us, Josh is our brother-in-law, and he's got 3 little kids, and he loves the Panthers. And Aaron's been in the business since he left school, 2015, and he also loves doing haircuts. So hit him up if you want a haircut.
That's it. And a bit about Shane. Shane's been with the company for almost 10 years. He's the eldest of Ross's boys, and so great experience in all things sheds. And he's pretty passionate about the approval process, which can be a bit of a headache for many projects, but Shane gets pretty passionate about that. So looking forward to this session, and we'll jump right in now. So next up, so the problem we want to talk about today is, what is the owner builder model and when does it suit? And I'm going to throw across to Aaron to kick us off here.
Cheers, Josh. Yes, so obviously there's 2 approaches you can take to the commercial build. You can either take the owner builder approach, or you partner with a commercial builder. And we get asked the question a lot, and we think it's super important for you to understand what's actually involved in the project. So the owner builder model is obviously a good way to maintain control over your project, but unfortunately it's not for everyone. It requires some previous experience in the industry, but yeah, so we'll touch on that shortly.
That's good, Aaron. And I guess what we wanted to point up here is we're not here to change anyone's mind about what they need to do. We just want to share some down-to-earth advice around what we find works well. And I guess the answer to the problem, Aaron, is on this next slide.
Yeah. So having obviously a robust, well thought out framework will assist in setting up for success. And obviously, ideally, having some background in the construction industry.
That's it. So what we're going to share today, team, is 4 key pillars or 4 keys to success. We like to call it the secret sauce. And point number 1 we're going to talk about today is, when does it suit to be an owner builder? What sort of projects or what size project is a good fit for an owner builder? How does it work? So what does the model really look like? And then, as always, there's pros and cons of every model. So we'll go through a few handpicked positives and negatives of the owner builder model. And finally, we're going to wrap up with how Steelcorp can help. We're a young, energetic team, and we like to get involved in our clients' projects as much as we can. And if anyone's got any questions throughout the call today, be sure to drop them in the chat box down below, and we'll run a little Q&A session right at the end to cover off on any questions that might come up. So we'll jump into the first key principle is, when can I be an owner builder? When does it really suit? And I'm going to throw across to Aaron to cover off on this slide. Aaron.
Cheers. Yeah, so there aren't too many restrictions on when you can be an owner builder, but there is obviously a certain element of risk involved. Typically on your smaller commercial builds, people take the owner builder approach. And we recommend speaking with building surveyors and certifiers to help understand the guidelines involved. So there's that, and then obviously there's certain projects that are quite straightforward. So your commercial farm sheds and your smaller warehouses. But when your projects start getting complex, involving offices and multi-complex units, then yeah, it's really, we suggest engaging other trades or other people like architects and planners and so forth.
And also, if it does get too big a project, sometimes it's not advisable to be an owner builder model. Is that what we're saying?
Yes.
That's good. And Shane, you had a very good example of a client that it was a pretty big project, but they were able to manage it themselves. Over to you.
Yeah, so this client, he owned and built a 4,000 square metre warehouse, but he was able to do it because he already had the strong relationships with professionals in the area. He knew the area, knew the industry, and had knew the local trades to deal with for the build, and he obviously was able to deal with the council, and he's had prior experience building a project, building a shed previously, and also he has an established business, so he can work on the business rather than in the business, which meant he could focus on the project.
That's a really important point there, Shane. That last point about having an established business. If I have a small business where I'm very key to the business, it's going to be a big involvement of my time on any owner build model project, regardless of the size. So I want to make sure I'm not being distracted by this sort of project, which could derail my real business or my day-to-day business. Is that right?
Yeah, that's right.
Perfect. Okay, so we'll jump now into the next point is, what does the owner build model look like, and how does it work? And I'm going to throw across to Shane for this one.
Yeah, so you as the owner builder, you get nominated on the permit, and you're responsible for the project, and you must be the title holder for the property that you're building on. You're responsible to satisfy the approval authorities, uphold all the relevant insurances, and maintain safe work environments. You're responsible to engage and manage the project trades, such as contractors and professionals, such as architects and engineers. You oversee obviously the quality control of the build, so pick the right contractors so that and know that they're a quality contractor.
And just on that point, Shane, with our quality, because you're handpicking your trades, they're directly accountable to you. So there's much more transparency in the work they're doing. Is that right?
Yeah, that's right. Yep. And you're also responsible to implement and manage the project timelines. So the timeline's up to you. And you're responsible to coordinate relevant inspections with the certifiers along the way. And lastly, site safety. You're responsible for the site safety and site officers, temporary fencing, and amenities that are required on the site during the build.
That's a good wrap up, Shane. And Ross makes a good point here on the chat that owner builders still require licensed contractors, which is a good point to raise. Would certainly advise any owner builders out there to make sure you do your homework with the trades you do partner with, that they are qualified and can that really ensures you get a good outcome from their part of the trade. But what I like about this wrap up here, Shane, is this ability to manage timelines. Takes some of the pressure off the project. Normally a commercial builder has a fixed start date and a fixed end date, which is good in some senses, but they normally try and compress as much as they can to get their project complete. So that can have a positive and a negative effect, I guess. That's great, Shane. And we'll jump now into the pros and cons of the owner builder model. As we kicked off at the start, there's always a positive and negative with everything we do in life, I guess. Mm-hmm. And we'll start with the positives, and Aaron's going to kick us off with some of the pros of being an owner builder.
Yeah, so obviously one of the main pros is you have control over your project, so you can oversee and manage trades and control the project at your own pace. Also, scope creep is reduced, so it eliminates any variations that typically a commercial builder would come about there. You have the ability to pick and choose your trades, and in that sense, you can obviously may have some trades that you want to support, so you have that ability, and also removes builder fees that typically a commercial builder put on 15 to 20% on other subcontractor prices. So you have that removed, and the flexibility in the design and the process from start to finish, and also your time frame is more relaxed. So this helps in financing your build.
That's great, Aaron. What I like about these pros here, I don't know about you, Shane, but the ability to pick my own trades is a big one. The commercial builder, yes, whilst they're the head contractor, they're not the ones actually doing the work. They're handpicking their own trades that they've worked with before. So the trades are really important to get right. And if you've already got relationships with trades in your local area, you may have used them in other projects, or you've worked with them in your own business. It's a real advantage to be able to handpick your trades, especially if you want to support local ones and local jobs to ensure a great outcome. And Aaron, you've got a good example here of a client, local in Wangaratta actually, who proves the benefit of the owner builder model over and over and over again.
Yeah, so he's a repeat client, and because he obviously does these builds quite often, he's got the trades there already, so he has the ability to use them, reuse them trades, and that he paces the build however he wants, and
he's got the experience as well.
Yeah,
that's it. And one thing I like about this example is our client in this case was very, or in the last example, was very clear about the use of the shed at the start of the project. And Shane, do you want to touch on that, how that's always an advantage from an approval point of view?
Yeah, so from a council point of view, what you put down the shed usage will depend on how long the process is through the councils. If you were to call it a warehouse, you'll need all the relevant amenities, but a storage shed doesn't need those amenities because it's not a business that you're running out of there. You're just storing, say, a caravan or a carpenter's gear or whatever. It's not considered a business, so amenities aren't required.
That's good. And some of our audience today might be investor type clients who might not know exactly what the use of the shed might be used for, and that's okay. But if you can find a tenant, or you are fairly sure what the shed might be used for, it's always good to get that nailed from the start, because depending on, as Shane said, depending on what we put on the application will often result in the requirements from an approval point of view. So as Shane mentioned, toilets and amenities are applicable for certain types of buildings. That's good. And now we'll get into the negatives, I guess, of the owner builder model. And I'm going to hit Shane up for these ones. Shane, over to you.
Yeah, so the cons to owner building is the overall project liability remains with you, and the opportunity costs can be a timely process, distracting from your ordinary day job. If that's what you're doing, if takes you away from what you do best. There's hidden costs, especially in the design and planning and compliance. So if you're not experienced in the building game, you might not understand all the hidden costs that are there. And then also the bank may consider it a higher risk to deal with you rather than if you're using a commercial builder.
Yeah, spot on, Shane. And I guess just a couple of those points there, whilst the banks might see it as a high risk, because this might be the only project you've ever done as owner builder, whereas on the flip side, you might have a commercial builder that's well known locally, a reputable company, 20 years old, and the bank's going to be more favourable, I guess, with financing that type of project, knowing that it's going to be run by a commercial builder. And just on the hidden cost point, Shane, you remember going back, I think episode 1, I think, in this series was budgeting for a commercial shed or a commercial project. Whilst a shed is a big portion, the admin, design, planning fees is a big figure as well. So if you're not aware of these from the outset, this can be a bit of a trip up for you. So be sure to do your homework there.
And that's right. With a commercial builder, you've got a set contract amount, whereas as an owner builder, there's no set contract amount, so it can vary so much.
That's good. And you had an example of let's call him unsure Ian, who probably wasn't as aware as he should have been of what was involved as an owner builder client, Shane.
Yeah, so he obviously he wasn't aware of what his actual shed was for, the use of it, and he just had a block of land. He wanted to put a shed on it to make use of the land, and he wasn't sure who would rent it out, so he didn't know whether to call it a warehouse or a storage shed. And also, when he engaged us as a shed builder, he didn't understand the involvement that was required by him with the permit side of things, which then was put back on us. We had to do the permit for him, and there was a lot of plans and stuff that we had to get for him that were extra costs that he hadn't allowed for.
There's a couple of things there, Shane. That example is the client wasn't too sure, because he was an investor, what the shed might be used for. And on the point about permits, obviously the client chose to take on the permits himself initially, but found it too overwhelming. So he handballed it back to Steelcorp to help out. Is that right?
Yeah, that's right. Yeah.
Yep. They're good points to raise. And as from the outset, we're not here to change anyone's mind around what model is best exactly. All we're trying to help is to educate you guys as to what to expect in the owner builder model, and to just help you make a better decision when it comes to your next commercial project. Feels like I'm talking too much, but I think I own this next slide. So how Steelcorp can help, as I touched on, we love getting involved in our clients' projects as much as we can, help ensuring that their buyer's journey is a great one, right from early design right through to handover and practical completion. So what are some of the things we can help with in any owner builder model? The shed portion is pretty big of any project. So partnering with someone that has got good experience in sheds and commercial projects is going to be a win-win for everyone. We hold great relationships with a range of professionals such as architects, engineers, certifiers and town planners that we can really tap into as part of your project, and really put you in touch with the people that are going to help you most. We can do some of the heavy lifting with communicating with these professionals. A lot of them use scary commercial project jargon, which can fly over people's heads. So we can sort of break that down into easy to understand language for all our clients out there. We have an extensive network of trades at our disposal. I was just running through our network of trades this morning, and from installers to concreters to civil plumbers, a bunch of trades that can really step in to work on your local project. And also we can include some of those trades in our scope as well, so we can take on some of those scopes within our overall umbrella as part of the project. And this one's really for Aaron. We love getting hands-on in the design phase. Right from the early days, we love sitting down with you and really understanding what the purpose of your shed's going to be used for, working with the land you've got, working with your budget, and making the design really guarantee an ROI on your project.
And if it's an investor project, then we've got some suggestions around who might be suitable for the use of that structure. Or
spot on. Yeah, we can really step in and help there. And the approval process is always a challenge, and we admit that. It's always a headache for not only us but our clients, but we do love to help out where we can on that, because we have got experience and resource at our disposal for these. And we just, I guess in summary, a lot of experience in commercial projects, and we're able to wrap a lot of this under our umbrella to ensure the project runs smoothly for you as the owner builder. So your involvement, you're still there, but it is limited, because we're going to help out with a lot of the heavy lifting. That was a mouthful. Too much talking from me. Anyway, so a bit of a wrap up of the 4 keys to success of the owner builder model. Number 1, we touched on when can I be an owner builder, and Aaron touched on this one. There's not a lot of restrictions, Aaron.
That's it.
But it more comes back to being smart with what you take on. If it's a simple project, not too complex, you've done it before, let's jump in and do it. If it's a significant project that you haven't had much experience in it before, it might be better to partner with a commercial builder. Is that right?
That's correct.
And Shane touched on how does it work. So about you taking on full responsibility for the job. You're going to manage and choose your trade and timelines. Is that right, Shane?
That's correct, yes.
And then we ran through some of the pros and cons, which was great. in our opinion, the fact you can save on the commercial builder fees a big advantage of the owner builder model. And we wrapped up by talking about how Steelcorp can help. As a proactive company, we love getting deep in with our clients and really helping out as much as we can. So as promised, we're going to just jump into a few questions now. So be sure to put through any that have come up as we've gone over the points. It looks like the first one here has come from David. Not sure where David's calling in from, but his question is, what would the additional costs be of using a commercial builder versus an owner builder?
Yeah, so back to the pros section, I mentioned that it's about 15 to 20% that a commercial builder would put on the subcontractor amount. So you're looking around that. That's
good. Not sure if Shane's frozen on us or it's just my end, but
he's just paused.
We've got a question from Simone here, who's up at Wodonga, which is not far from where Aaron is in Wangaratta.
Mm-hmm.
Simone says, we've outgrown our current facility in Wodonga and have recently purchased new land. We're yet to commence the design and planning. Are you able to assist in these early design stages? What do you reckon of that one, Aaron?
Yeah, 100%. As you mentioned earlier, yeah, we can help through all them stages.
Yeah, and we won't shy away from the fact that sometimes we need to talk to architects and town planners, but we can certainly put you in touch with the right people.
We have them contacts as well, so if you need to pull in and discuss with them, that's fine.
That's awesome. And final question here from Neil. Neil's out of Echuca, another one of Aaron's hotspots. I'm working on some concept plans at the moment. After what I've heard today, I don't think I'm suited to the owner builder model. Can you suggest any proactive commercial builders in the area that I should reach out to? Aaron.
Yeah, sure. I'll reach out to you after this and I'll give you some contacts. Some suggestions.
And we've got a question here coming in from Jack. Not sure. Jack's in Seymour, so not too far away from you, Aaron, as well. Our proposed site is on the floodplain here at Seymour.
Yep.
And can we assist with contacts? Of course, Jack. Floodplains are always a bit of an interesting one. Can create some guideline, or can really, how would you say it, Aaron? Limit what the land can be used for, I guess.
Correct. Yeah, definitely. I think this is Jack. I know who Jack is, so I'll get in contact with him. I'll give him some contacts. We do have a database of contacts, so help me through it.
Thanks, Jack, for your question, and Aaron will be in touch.
Good to see you on here, Jack.
Okay, so that's the wrap up of the questions and answers out of today's session. Hope our attendees found it valuable. And as always, we're excited to announce that our next episode is episode 5, I think it is. It's hard to believe we've done 5 already, Aaron. And it's all about the Steelcorp experience. So we're sort of wrapping up our commercial builder series and running you through what to expect as a client of Steelcorp. What's the experience like? What's the buyer's journey all about? And we'll be sure to be sending out some invites for that session. I'm not sure, Aaron, would you be able to drop in the link to register on the chat page? Would that be something you could pull up now?
I don't know if I actually have the link, but you can probably do that, Josh. And we've got another question here from Julie Thompson. I think this is one of Shane's clients. Shane, she's asking, is there a big difference in normal painted trusses to galvanized trusses? What would you say?
With the truss section, sometimes you can get the truss in a Duragal
Lost me again.
finish, so that'd probably be your cheapest option. Then you can get the truss painted, as opposed to painting and galvanizing. There's not a huge difference because you've got the extra transport cost with the painting finish. But we'll just say with galvanizing, the galvanized steel is a low maintenance type of steel, can last up to 75 to 100 years without maintenance, whereas a painted frame will only last up to 15 years.
Yeah, so the long-term benefits is the main thing there, and we don't actually really offer painted frame anyway. So
just to sum up that question, our default offering is the hot dip galvanized model or frame because it's superior in its finish. There probably would be a minor saving with a painted truss, but that can be quickly negated with the ongoing maintenance and any touch-up required after transport and installation. So I hope that helps Julie. So once again, thanks everyone for joining. It's been a cracker of a session all about the owner builder experience. I've dropped the link to register in the chat box. Does that come through okay, Aaron?
Yeah, it did. Yep.
Yep. So lu.ma/steel_talk. You can jump in there and register for our series. So you'll be automatically added to the next episode, which is on the 28th of October at 2:30 p.m. So appreciate everyone joining. Okay, Mitchell's just said it hasn't come through this end. Let me just check.
It's in the Q&A section. It's probably.
Here it is here. I'll just, Mitch, could that come through okay? I've just whacked it on the chat now to everyone. So hopefully that's, yep, he's on. Okay. Well, thanks everyone for joining. It's been a privilege having you with us last 30 minutes. And before we sign off, I better just give a shout out to the Panthers.
I'm going to log off now.
We better see them do the deal this weekend. And signing out. Thanks everyone for joining.
There you guys.
See you next time.
Thank you.
See you later.